Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this patch video for Thief Lord from the website Royal Road. This patch video will contain chapters 15 and 16, and as always I hope that you enjoy. And if you do, please consider supporting the channel. Chapter 15, Escape. Sticking my head out of the hatch, I observe the surrounding area. There are quite a few hiding places around here, and my thoughts are interrupted as I hear rapid footsteps approach from the short alleyway connecting the sewer entrance and the main street. It's far too early for it to be the beggar. Quickly closing the lid, I put my ear as close as I can to the small crack between the hatch and the surrounding cobblestone, trying to figure out just who appeared. The footsteps come closer, and I can hear a couple of people talking. Oh gee, no one here either. What a surprise! A female voice whines, "Danny, can't we just head into the tavern and grab a few ales while the rest of these psychers look for the lowbie scum?" For the last time, quit your whining, Rachel. If the guild leader ever found out that we're stacking, then you can kiss your paycheck goodbye. Let's just hurry and get this over with. We have 5 more alleys to check. A muffled male voice responds. Gee, spoil sport. The woman snorts as the 2 voices gradually disappear down the alleyway. I wait for a few moments to make sure that they are truly gone before I peek my head back out, once more looking around the alleyway. My estimation, the beggar could return any time between 10 and 30 minutes from now, since this alley has been checked recently, and I assume that the Dark Pegasus Guild is professional and organized enough to search in the grid pattern. Then there isn't any reason to believe anyone will be coming anytime soon. I climb up into the alleyway, quickly following my underlings. We decide to take up a defensive position covering the only angle of approach. Finding the ideal location for my underlings, I move my spotter behind a few crates where he gets a good view of the alleyway. My hoodlum takes up a position around the corner of the tavern, ready to intercept any that would be attackers as they appear. My cutpurse hides in the shadows on the other side of the alley, neatly tucked away in the dark spot between the 2 neighboring houses. I briefly consider using a disguise items for a moment, but then decide against it. With all the high-level players moving around, it would serve no purpose. We sit and wait idly for what feels like the longest time. I constantly check my in-game clock, counting each and every minute. The longer we wait, the harder my heart beats. After 20 minutes, when I think I'm about ready to get a heart attack, my beggar comes strolling down the alley. Releasing a deep breath, I undo my chameleon spell and head to greet him. The little dwarf doesn't have any new missions to report, but I could care less at the moment. I quickly lay out my orders and have him walk past the gate and locate the sewer exit that should be somewhere on the eastern side of the peninsula. I tell him to find the grate and sit tight beside it. And, for good measure, I tell him not to touch the gate by any means. I am not willing to see my plans go down the drain because of some tragic mistake like that. Nodding to confirm my orders, the beggar turns around and heads back down the alleyway. I wait until he makes his turn around the corner, vanishing from view. Good. Hopefully he will reach the grate before 10-15 minutes or so. It seems like I'll be able to make a clean exit. No sooner have I thought those accursed words before the tavern's back door swings open, and 2 men step through. My heart threatens to jump up through my mouth as I instinctively cast Chameleon on myself once more. Chameleon has leveled up to Novice 3. Jesus Christ, Chris, why the hell are we sneaking out the back? One of the men, an elf, says in hushed tones. The other man, a human male wearing brown linen clothes, snorts, because I don't want those bastards to see me leave before they realize I nicked their... Oi, who goes there? The human man shouts as he notices the movement in the corner of his eye. His eyes widen soon in surprise as he catches my hoodlum mid-swing, aiming for his companion's throat. The elf hardly has time to react as he realizes the danger too late, a sword connecting with his exposed throat. He reaches out in a large gash of his throat with a shocked expression, unable to utter a single word before the hoodlum follows up by impaling him on the sword, ending his life in an instant. The human takes a step back, dazed by the sudden death of his friend. He fumbles as he tries to grab his sword, his arms not really responding to his commands. When he finally gets a grip on his hilt, he yelps in pain as the throwing dagger embeds itself in his shoulder. "Help!" he screams as he stumbles backwards. That is all he manages to do as my cutpurse finally reaches him, slitting his throat in one effective stroke. You have slain a wood elf rogue, Sneaky Petey too. You have slain a human fencer, Bullabullaby too. Frick! I curse, the bodies disappear. I don't know if anyone heard the man's screams, but it doesn't matter. It won't be long until they respawn and call me out. Then a high-level vultures will swarm this place. Crap, I need a diversion. Thinking quickly, I managed to come up with one solution. I have my underlings unequip their weapons and armor handed over to me. I give them back their starter weapons and order them to take up their old positions covering the alleyway. It makes my stomach twist that I have to do this, but I don't think that there is another way. I have to sacrifice their lives to stall for time. I climb back down into the sewers and start jogging down the dark tunnels. Time is not on my side, and I am a sitting duck without underlings to assist me. I only make it about 100 meters down the tunnel before the 3 windows appear before my eyes. Your underling human hoodlum 3 has been slain by Upstairs 45. Your underling human cutpurse 3 has been slain by Rollins Hood 45. Your underling wood elf spotter has been slain by Rollins Hood 45. Crap, that was fast. I curse as I pick up my pace. I jog as fast as the slippery slough tunnels can allow, and I stumble upon a pack of level 2 sewer rats after half a minute, who immediately turn their blood-red eyes in my direction. Frick! I don't have time for this, I mutter as I equip my crossbow. Raising it to my chin, I loose a bolt at the nearest rat, but the small target nimbly dodges by jumping to the side. Crap! I curse as the other rat charges at me. I deliver a kick in its direction, which hits it square in the face, sending the little critter flying. Not one to idle on my success, I quickly turn back towards the first rat, which is already charging at me. In a rush motion, I try to punt it away using my crossbow as a makeshift golf club, watching as it connects and slams the poor rat into the tunnel wall on the other side. Holy crap, I didn't think that would work. I gape at the stunned rat. Distracted by the sudden turn of events, I fail to notice the second rat who has already recovered from the kick. Bursting forward, it climbs my foot and sinks its fangs deeply into my thigh. Your right leg has been crippled, decreases movement by 30% for 5 minutes. Oh, frack, that hurts. I yell as I grab the rat, forcibly yanking it off my thigh and chucking it as far as I can down the tunnel behind me. Before the rat can re-engage, I hobble down the tunnel, clutching my injured leg. Spread out, he must be in here. Their shouts echo down the tunnel behind me, signaling that the players have managed to find the sewer entrance. Cursing with every step I take, I increase the speed of my hobbling. Luckily, I don't run into any more rats, but I can hear the shouts of my pursuers grow ever closer. Reaching the center chamber, I quickly enter the tunnel leading further down to the lower level. It feels like I'm only running on fumes from the constant adrenaline rush that I have been for the last few hours, and my mind starts to blur with exhaustion that threatens to knock me out cold. It takes longer than I am comfortable with to reach the bottom, and I slow my pace as I peek into the large room. I have no idea if Pug the pugilist has respawned already, and now would be a really bad time for me to accidentally trip over him again. The room is still littered with broken boxes and random piles of rags everywhere. I don't see anything that stands out, but I hesitate in trying to decide what to do. Should I take my time, meticulously making my way around the edges of the room, or should I charge across, crossing my fingers and hope for the best? I am not comfortable with either choice, and my chaotic state of mind does nothing to help with my decision-making ability. The voices behind intensify in volume as they seem to make a decision for me. Gritting my teeth, I hobbled forward, straight towards the exit corridor where the steel grate awaits me. My heart slams against my chest as I hold my breath, quietly expecting one of the piles of rags to rise to its feet and start attacking me at any moment. Eventually, after what feels like an eternity, I reach the other side of the chamber, finally allowing me to release my breath in joy as I am still in one piece. Praising my lucky stars, I hobble down the tunnel and around the final corner. The beggar isn't here. My body freezes as my mind struggles to comprehend the situation. I'm too early. What do I do now? I lean against the wall, my knees giving in as I slide down the wall. Crap. Is this it? Do I really fail right in front of the finishing line? I sit still and stare down the tunnel behind me. The shouting is growing ever closer, and I can almost pick up the short glimpses of what they're saying. In one final desperate push, I activate Chameleon and close my eyes, waiting for my executioners to arrive. The elite mob is dead. Someone has been here recently. Search the corners. A strangely familiar voice shouts. My pursuers have finally caught up with me. Dare I hope that they won't bother looking too closely at the damp wall next to the steel grate. I snort. Honestly, I don't know what would make my luck any more. That doesn't mean anything, Paul. Ryan was down here a few hours ago. The mob probably hasn't respawned yet. A female voice responds. Wait a moment. Is that Anna? What are the odds? I smile as I release a defeated sigh. Really? How poetic is it that she kills me? I snort as I can't help but chuckle in irony. Who's Ryan? Another female voice asks. Is it your new boyfriend? I can hear her snickering from all the way over here. Another female voice. Could this be those guys? No, he's just a fresh player that Bryan and I met up with in the tavern a few hours ago. He's a nobody, Anna answers, her voice sounding strangely high-pitched and stuttery. What? Isn't Bryan good enough for you? The other woman teases. What? No, Anna yells. Did you just get rejected, Bryan? The woman laughs. That's harsh. Even for you, Anna. Knock it off, Rachel. Stay alert. The thief lord could be hiding here somewhere. The voice, which I assume belongs to Paul, admonishes Rachel. Yeah, whatever. This kind of feels dull after killing the trash necromancer last night. She chuckles. At least that guy was able to put up a fight. What is this level 3 thief lord supposed to do to us, huh? Throw bad intentions at us? I mean, come on. Really, why are we wasting our time with this? It's not worth the price, Rachel complains. Little does she know that the thief lord that she is talking about is seen 15 meters away from her, channeling every single ounce of killing intent that he can muster at her. That little witch! I'll kill her someday, I swear. Paul sighs loudly. Mark, take the lead, would you? Aye, lad. I'll be charging ahead of you. A voice responds. Knock it off, Mark. You're French, not Scottish. Paul snaps. Just frickin' go already. It's called role-playing. Ever heard of it? You stumping twig. Mark grumbles as he starts to move, his metal boots slamming against the hard stone floor of the sewers, causing the echoes to spread in every direction. I sigh. I suppose this is it. It was a nice try, all things considered. Perhaps I'll try and re-roll as a thief lord in another city. It's not like I lost more than a few hours here. I hear the Hawk Dominions on the southern continent has a few cool options in the desert. That sounds like fun. I open my eyes, ready to face my pursuers face to face. As I am ready to accept my fate, a small sound of a pebble rolling over the stone floor catches my attention. Immediately snapping my head to the side, I see a frail dwarf dressed in dirty rags walking down the tunnel on the other side of the gate, his posture signaling that he doesn't have a care in the world. Holy crap, he made it! I quickly beckon for the beggar to hurry the frick up as the sound of Mark's steel boots approaches closer every second. The dwarf quickly closes the gap, and I waste no time activating Doppelganger. My vision goes dark for a split second as a vortex of shadowy magic completely envelops my body. When it finishes, I blink my eyes twice in confusion as I suddenly find myself a meter to my side, safely on the other side of the steel grate. I look at the grate, seeing my beggar standing idle on the other side. It worked! I nearly yell in glee as I remember that I'm out of time. Hobbling down the tunnel, I slip around the corner just in time before Mark appears around the final bend. Gotcha, you little... Huh? A beggar? What are you doing here? He says, befuddled. Did you find her? Anna's voice appears shortly after. Is that a beggar? I didn't know they wandered into the sewers. I don't know. Sort of makes sense, though, don't it? The dwarven warrior shrugs. I suppose, Hannah hesitates. Against my better judgment, I once more activate comedian just as I slowly peek around the corner. I see a pair of high-level adventurers surrounding my beggar. Mark is keeping him firmly in place with the tip of his weapon. Hannah carefully stares at my underling, apparently deep in thought. Her eyes move up, settling on the crate a few minutes, inspecting it carefully. The trap is still in effect. No one could have gotten past it, she mutters, more to herself than anyone else. I wonder who tracks Paul picked up, though. I didn't think his tracking skill picked up NPCs, she muses, stroking her chin. She stands completely still for a moment, apparently deep in thought. What are you guys waiting for? If she ain't there, then let's keep searching. We're burning daylight, people. Paul bellows from behind. Ease up, Paul. We're not burning anything. It's nighttime, remember? Rachel laughs. Ugh. And I was sure that we'd find her down here. Mark mutters as he turns around. I told you that this was a waste of time, Anna shrugs. I told you Ryan killed Pug on his own. It must have been his tracks that we saw. She says as they walk away, their banter soon fading away into the distance, allowing me to finally release my breath. I made it. End of chapter. Chapter 16. Dream. That was one hell of a tough session, I mutter as I push the lid to the capsule open. I could use a vacation. I get up on my feet and start performing some light stretches. My body is incredibly sore but well rested after you hooked up for so long. Even though my physical body shows no sign of fatigue, my mind sure as hell does. It feels a little like my brain has become a regular practice grounds for every heavy metal band in a 3-kilometer radius. I couldn't come up with a semi-decent thought even with my life was hanging on the line. And I suppose technical definition of my current state is that I am a potato. Oh yep, it was that bad. Mental exhaustion is a common problem for most people who stay hooked up to capsule for longer than recommended amount of time. Your thoughts become erratic and you are more prone to make mistakes, and that is something that I can't afford to do. It's why I've made the habit of taking several breaks during the day and spread them out over the sensible length of time. Since my character should be a relatively safe location at the moment, I figured it's about time for me to take my daily 1-hour run. It does wonders for clearing up the mental fatigue, and it helps keep my body from deteriorating too much while staying hooked up to the capsule. As I put on my running shorts and an old, well-worn t-shirt, I find myself looking into the mirror. I've been trying to keep track of the stats of my body for these last 3 months, and I'm really starting to notice the changes. While I used to be a man on the lower end of the heavy side, I'm now closer to what one would describe as average, maybe even slightly thinner. I've been trying to put my body on a healthy diet when I'm hooked up to the capsule, since I don't really feel the same cravings for sweets and fats as I used to. It's amazing how the mind can completely shut out the desire while it actively is indulging in another. Who would have ever thought that I would one day claim that video games are the reason for me losing weight? Looking at myself like this, I gotta say I actually look pretty good. Handsome, even. Perhaps I should try and pick up girls now, and not in a few months when I probably will end up looking like a ghoul. Nah, the game has to come before all else. All ready to go, I grab my keys and some earbuds. Hopefully, the run will clear my mind once more. The morning soon peeks over the horizon as I step outside. It's kinda chilly, but not as bad as one might expect this late in summer. It's far too early in the morning for even the early risers to get to work, but there is still a decent amount of traffic outside. The side effects of releasing technology that eliminates the need for sleep, I suppose. Shaking my head, I start jogging down the street while I let my mind tune out as I submerge myself in my favorite music. I jog for about 15 minutes or so when my phone rings, abruptly cutting off the music. Stopping in my tracks, I fish my phone out of my pocket and check who this crazy bastard who calls someone at 5 in the morning is. Well, of course, it's my father. Hey, what's up, Dad? We're up early, I say in a chipper tone. His gruff voice replies with some other side. Hey, son, sorry about that. Did I wake you? He asked. He sounds a little worried about something. No, I got up a little while ago. I'm out for a run. Is something wrong? I asked hesitatedly. He clears his throat before he speaks. Yeah. Something came up. Can we meet somewhere for breakfast? It's my treat. Okay, this is weird. I got a bad feeling. The last time he acted like this was right before he told me Mom. No, I close my eyes. Not going there. I take a deep breath before I wipe through my mind, and I quickly gather myself while I try to regain my chipper tone. Sure, Dad? Is it something serious? Nothing that can't be fixed. I'd rather discuss this face to face. Meet up at Jimmy's Diner in 15 minutes. He asks me, yeah, sure, see you there. I reply before he cuts the connection. Okay, now I really have a bad feeling about this. Did he find out that I quit my job? How could he? We don't know anyone in the common who knows what I did. At least, I don't think so. Did he stop by my job yesterday without telling me? Questions race through my mind as I start worrying. It's not that Dad is such a scary character, but I wouldn't just hate for him to find out this way. I wanted to tell him myself, ideally, sometime after I struck it big. Does he really know, though? It might be something else entirely, but why has he then seen to Jimmy's Diner? That place is too far away from both my old apartment, his house, and either one of our jobs. It's actually ideally located near where I currently live. Oh, frick. He knows. I wince as a cold shiver runs down my spine. This is bad. My muscles tense as I start pacing up and down the street. What do I tell him? What can I tell him? I am not ready for this yet. I need more time. I keep pacing while I draw a few deep breaths. It's not too late to back out, but I think that would just make the situation that much worse. I sigh. I suppose there is no way around it. I mutter while shaking my head. Might as well get this over with. Turning around, I start jogging back the way I came. From where I am, it should only take me about 10 minutes to reach Jimmy's Diner. It's much tougher run than it should be, mostly because my body doesn't seem to want to cooperate with my head. Eventually, though, I spot the diner in the distance. Jimmy's Diner is a testament to times long forgotten. There aren't many places left like this that still serve customers on location, since people mostly prefer to order food directly to their homes. Jimmy's Diner has withstood the test of time, mostly because of the stubborn clientele like my father, who refuses to adapt to a modern society. You can't make bacon this good at home, son, my father used to say. He might be right, but mostly because normal households can't supply the amount of grease these diners have spent years collecting. I prefer not to think about it. Entering the diner, I quickly look around. I spot my father already sitting in the booth by the window. He waves me over, but I notice he lacks the smile he usually shows whenever he sees me. I take a few slow steps towards him, trying to keep my nerves in check as much as I can. I slip into the seat opposite him. He narrows grey eyes locking onto me. Good morning, Ryan, he says curtly, not breaking his stare. Morning, Dad, I say while smiling weakly. I take a deep breath. Listen, I took the liberty of ordering you some pancakes, he cuts me off, all the while maintaining eye contact. I hope you don't mind. No, that's fine, I mutter. I see you've lost some weight. He keeps his voice even. It kind of freaks me out that he hasn't even blinked yet. Yeah, I've been cutting down on... And you started exercising. He interrupts me once more, gesturing to the sweat-stained t-shirt. Yeah, as I said, and you quit your job. His voice strains as a deep furrow is uncovered on his forehead. The blood vein on his temples is starting to throb. I sigh. Yes. Why? He asks. I pinch the bridge of my nose, because I wanted to follow. Are you in some sort of trouble? He cuts in once more, his eyes staring daggers at me. I slam my fist into the table. Will you just let me explain? I yell at him, causing the other customers in the diner to look away. What's there to explain? He shouts back at me. You quit your job and moved into a bad neighborhood. What possible kind of reason could there be other than something bad happened to you? Are you on drugs? What? I blurted out, stunned. No, I yell. Then are you dealing? He screams at me, his face turning red. I didn't raise my son to become a criminal piece of crap. Would you just fricking listen to me? I rise to my feet. I'm not in any trouble. I'm following my dream of becoming a professional gamer. I shout before I get to falter on my words. He slumps back in his seat, frowning. What? I breathe heavily, resting my arms on the table, my face turning beet red. I am following my dream of becoming a professional gamer full-time. I want to make enough money to live on it, I say, struggling to keep my voice from breaking. The dream you had since you were a kid, he asks, raising his eyebrows. Are you serious? Dead serious, I say, glaring at him. My heart is slamming against my chest as my tinnitus flares up, the constant ringing sound cancelling out the sounds from the traffic outside. Dad is just staring at me with an uncomprehending look on his face. We just sit there staring at each other for a while. My dad with a look of confusion, me with a determination made of iron. We don't say anything, but I know that we are currently fighting a battle of the worlds. If I flinch now, then he won't hesitate to break me. Are you out of your mind, he eventually says, all this for a stupid game? It's not a stupid game. It's a way to make ends meet while doing what I love, I reply. It's my turn to keep my unwavering gaze on him. This is happening, Dad. I won't quit until I've exhausted all my possibilities. He takes a deep breath. You are aware that you are not a kid anymore, correct? He asks, sounding 10 years older. I know. This isn't about that. It's what I want to do, Dad. I say, the energy draining from my body as I speak. Your mother wouldn't have approved. No, she wouldn't. Not at first, at least, I sighed, shaking my head. A knot ties my chest as I struggle for words. I don't do this for her. She would have come around eventually. My shoulders slump as my eyes drop, fixating on the salt shaker on the table in front of me, of all things. The conversation halts as a nervous-looking waitress walks over with our food. She gives us both an uncertain glance before she wordlessly drops the plates off before she scurries off to tend to the other customers. It's not until that moment that I realize how deathly quiet the diner is. It seems like we made a scene, Dad grunts with a smirk. It seems so, I grin. At least it isn't worse than that time Aunt Alice mistook the wasabi for the guacamole. Dad bursts into laughter. That's right, how could I forget about that? I didn't know that prickly old hag even knew that many swear words, he grins. I hear you. I learned a lot of new things that day that I never could have imagined were possible. I snicker at the thought. The tension leaves my body as things finally return to normal. My dad is actually kind of a cool guy, if not a stubborn, quick-tempered cow from time to time. But who amongst us don't have a few flaws? The atmosphere cools down for a while and we consume our breakfast. We catch up on the latest happenings within the family and trade a few jabs back and forth. My dad has always been a rough kind of guy that hasn't really ever felt the need to hold back his opinion on anything. A trait some say was passed down to me. I personally don't see it, but that might just be my father's genetics talking. It isn't until we finish eating that my father grows tense once more. Crossing his arms, he gives me a worried look. Ryan, I need to know that we're heading with this. How long are you going to follow your dream of yours, and what are you going to do if it doesn't work? I sigh. I have enough savings to keep me going until the end of the month without any income. If I don't make it by then I'll go beg to get my job back, I say. I can feel my throat getting dry by the thought of abandoning my dream. And if that doesn't work, he inquires, giving me a stern look, then I'll take on any job I'm qualified for. I'm not picky. For now, though, I just want to see where the stream takes me. He closes his eyes, taking a deep breath, and there is nothing I can say or do to sway your mind. Nothing. He sighs. Well, you're a grown man, and I suppose you have to make your own mistakes. Just promise me you'll quit before it gets too far, he says, giving me a warm smile. Thanks, Dad. That means a lot to me. End of chapter. And that, my friends, concludes this batch video. If you enjoy the story, please don't forget to go and show the author some support. And if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below. The easiest way to support this channel would be to subscribe and share as much as possible to help this channel grow. And I'll see you all in the next video, and until then I hope you all keep well and safe. Cheers.